Rebuilding a Stuart Major beam engine. This is part 1, the introduction and overview, a look at what is wrong with the engine. And there are quite a few things wrong with this engine. This is similar to the small beam engine that I've been working on recently, except the problems are more severe and more difficult to fix.
And the first one, of course, is the beam is off-centre. The second one is the pivot for the beam is off-centre. And the third one is that the flywheel's all over the place as well. Now, I'm not sure whether this is due to the crankshaft or a badly machined flywheel. Here I'm waving about the pedestal that this bearing should be resting on. But sadly, instead of using this correct part, the entire engine is just fixed to this rough-looking box. Here I'm looking at one of the main bearings, the one that's supposed to be on the pedestal. What I'm going to do is loosen up this bearing and wobble it about and see whether it makes a difference to the concentricity of the flywheel. So now, as you can see, I can move this bearing about and see what happens at the edge of the flywheel. One thing that worries me about this engine is the fact that a flywheel of this size, and it really is quite huge, is just pinched to the crankshaft with a simple grub screw. I would have at least expected a keyway. But anyway, by moving the bearing about, I can change the concentricity slightly of the flywheel, but initially it's not looking good. It really does feel like it's not a tight fit on the crankshaft to start with. And the same goes for the pulley wheel. That's wobbling about also. Now, is the crankshaft bent? Is it just too small for the flywheel? This could be a slight problem for me, because this large flywheel will not fit in my lathe. Plus, it appears to have been slightly over-machined. There isn't too much material left to remove if I do need to true up the flywheel. So for now, I'll just nip up the bearing so that it doesn't work completely loose and drop off. And now again, as you can see, as I tighten down the bearing, the concentricity of the flywheel gets worse. I'm going to have the whole thing in pieces and have a close look at it in due course. Throughout the video you've been seeing these spinning rings. These are showing problem areas on the engine. And here's a problem area. This is the bed plate, and it's badly machined. I don't quite know what's going on here. It's getting curiouser and curiouser. On the surface the engine's very well made, but it's not gone together very well. So with the help of my plastic boxes and my hammer securely away in its box, I'm about to take it apart, and then I'm going to take my medication. An overview of this engine, just by looking at it, tells me that it is extremely well made. The cotter pins come out very cleanly, there's no bodging, they fit perfectly, and the squareness of the holes has to be seen to be believed. These parts are so well made I'm having to use a hammer and a small piece of brass to release them even when the cotter pins are withdrawn. So at the moment this engine puzzles me. The machining is to a high standard, particularly the smaller parts as you see here. But when the thing goes together it's a bit of a disaster area. Maybe the person who machined this engine was not the person who put it together, who knows. Everything on this engine so far is coming apart so well, unlike the previous engine that I worked on. As this video is speeded up considerably, the hammer blows sound really strange. And likewise, there's very little brute force here. I'm using a very small spanner on a very small nut, so I can remove this component from the parallel motion. You will notice at the beginning that I used 2 plastic boxes. The larger of the 2 boxes is for larger components and the small green pot is for small parts. And there are plenty of small parts here, especially these split bearing shells. There are plenty of these that act as bearings within the parallel motion. So it's a good idea to make sure they're in a safe place where they can't get lost. As I said earlier, there are some anomalies with this engine. If you look at the hole in the casting, which takes this pin for the water pump, it's not in the centre of the shape part of the casting, and if you look at the other parts of the casting, the same thing applies. The thing that is totally unacceptable is the position of the main bearing shaft in the middle of the beam. It's offset to one side. So I'll try it with a soft hammer first and see whether it moves. Just as I thought, no chance at all. So it's over to the vise in the outer part of the workshop and a little bit of controlled ultraviolence. What I'm doing here is heating up the part because I'm pretty sure that this is held in with some kind of Loctite. After applying the heat for a very short time and using a piece of copper tubing and some material in the vice jaws to protect the metal, I can press the centre shaft into the position I want it to be in, and I can confirm this by measuring it both sides. I don't know why the builder has used Loctite on this component, because if you look, underneath the beam there are many holes, and there was a grub screw in the centre one. The main shaft was held in place by a grub screw and I removed it, but it was also very securely held by some Loctite as well, in the wrong position. When I refit the beam to the column, and move the beam up and down in the correct place, it is not 100% lined up with the piston. So I'm beginning to know what's gone on with this engine now. At first I thought it may be just a problem that the builder pressed in the main shaft with some Loctite and got it in the wrong position, and that was the end of it. But no, it was done on purpose, to try and align the beam with the piston. It's not very far out now, but I do know what's going on. These are the two plumber blocks bolted to the bed plate that hold the valve actuating rod. This supports a 90-degree bell crank that converts horizontal into vertical movement. And as you can see, the hole in the centre is not in the centre, and it should be. I would just simply buy some more castings and start again. The castings for these parts are not very expensive, but a new beam casting is. So if also the holes were in the wrong place in the beam casting, I can see why the builder worked around it. The trouble is though, you don't need to make too many errors on an engine to make a thorough mess of it. That's it for the moment. Thanks for watching, I hope you found it useful.
Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.